everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about my most anticipated book releases of 2022. So a bunch of books that I'm looking forward to reading next year. If you're someone that likes to know in advance, this is the kind of video for you. I also made a list in the description box, but I also have a bookshelf on Goodreads if you want to see all of them. So we're going to go through them, talk about a lot of them, because some of these are like favorite authors, a few of these for once. I feel like there's never enough new books for me. There's also a few authors that I want to try again because I enjoyed something by them, and a few that it's going to be their last chance. So Sanderson is coming out with a new book, which means I will read it. Obviously, this is going to be Lost Metal, which there's no cover and there's no release date as of yet, but it's done. He has written the whole thing, and it's Sanderson. If he says it's going to come out, it's going to come out. I mean, he writes like 10 books a day. It's ridiculous. So this is going to be the last book in the second Mistborn series. Even though I'm not as emotionally invested, I feel like, as the first series, I'm still looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with it. His endings, his last book, are always amazing, so no doubt it's going to be also. I do enjoy the banter between the two main characters. I enjoy seeing how the magic system is being utilized in a more Western setting compared to like the medieval one from the first book. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Western. It's probably why I'm less invested, but it's very popular. A lot of people enjoy it, so I will be reading it because I need to in order to get to the next two series in the same world. I just like that whenever it's like series that advance in time, and you have to see how the magic system adapts, which I can't wait for, like Spaceship, you know, but we're not there yet. But yes, the seventh book basically in the Mistborn world, no date, no cover, doesn't matter, we'll read it. Schwab is also coming out with one, possibly two books. We're gonna go with the one that it's possibly. There's no specific date as of yet. There's no title, no cover. It's going to be book one in the Treads of Power series, which chances are it might not come out this year, but we're gonna pretend, okay? It's gonna happen. We're manifesting it, okay? It's in the same world as the Shade of Magic trilogy, which I did overall enjoy. I feel like the magic system is super interesting. I just feel like towards the last book specifically, the characters kind of got weak. But the main characters will be in this book also, although we will be following different leads, which it has been rumored it's going to be like, what is it? Alucard and like Rai, which, yes, please, yes. So if she comes out with that, I will be reading it. But for sure, she is coming out with a new YA book, which I might attempt. I'm just going to throw it out there because why not? More info for you. Gallant, coming out March 1st, 350 pages. It's also a fantasy book, so magic. The next one, I am so excited. Blake Crouch is coming out with a new book. It's going to be called Upgrade, also no cover. Like, we're very early for this. It's coming out in July, so the 19th probably, 350 pages. I love his books. I have read, I believe, 7 of his books. To be fair, the first two, the earliest two he has written, I thought were pretty weak, but he has improved a ton, and like each book that he comes out with is better, so hopefully it's going to continue, you know, on this trend. But Upgrade is supposed to be about a man who goes through like a surgery or something that is supposed to give him a virus that it will change his DNA, and things don't go as planned, and it doesn't seem very clear. Honestly, his plots are always really complicated to summarize, and I haven't read the book yet, so it seems complicated, but I will be reading it. I'm assuming it's going to be also a sci-fi thriller, which is always the case for him, and I love him for that. It's like one of my favorite combos, like ever. So we'll be reading this in July next year. I'm sure a ton of you will also do the same thing. Next, I am ready to have my heart broken all over again because the author of A Little Life is coming out with a new book called To Paradise, which is going to be like 720 pages. My fear of commitment is like strong right now. January 11th, it's coming out, and I will be reading it probably like in February. I'm so excited for it. It's supposed to also be a sad book because the summary says that it's about lovers, family, loss. Yes, please. And it's supposed to be an alternate version of 1893, also in New York. And yes, character-driven story. She does it so well. I can't wait to try more of her writing because I really loved it in her other book. I can't wait. I know a lot of you will also be very excited about that one. Next, Becky Chambers is coming out with a new book, which means Emily will read it as soon as she can. A Prayer for the Crowned Shy, which is book 2 in the Monk and Robot duology. I think it's going to be duology. Look at this cover. It just screams magic. Like, oh, so pretty. Not actual magic, but like comforting. Her books are like sci-fi, but very character driven. And in this one, you're following a non-binary monk that is trying to find a meaning to their lives. And they meet a robot. And they talk. That's basically all there is. There's tea and there's talking. That's all you need to know. It's great. I loved it. The first one. The second one is coming out July 12th, and it's 160 pages. So it's going to be short, but I'm looking forward to reading this. It's just a little slice of heaven. It's just so peaceful. I can't wait. Peter Swanson is coming out with a new book, which means I will try it. I think I've read like 6 of his books so far. They're all like thrillers, mystery thrillers. And this one is going to be called 9 Lives. It's going to be 320 pages. For some reason, I just like knowing the number. It's coming out March 15th. Some of his books are like some of my all-time favorite mystery thrillers. Some of them could not finish them. I think I've read then officially 5.5 of his books. But this one, the plot seems interesting, so I'm excited. You have 9 strangers that receive a letter with like a list of all of their names. They have no idea what's going on. And then people, I think, start dying. But one of the person on the list is a FBI agent, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So yes, I'm very much intrigued. The author of The Puppy War is coming out with a new book. Cannot wait. This was also like a fantasy, historical fiction, adult book. It's called Babel, or The Necessity of Violence. I'm already sold. It's coming out August 23rd. There's no specific page number, but from what I've heard, it's supposed to be like kind of dark academia, which, yes, that's literally all I need to know. I think it's also going to be talking about colonialism, a little bit like The Puppy War. I'm just excited to try something else by her. I was really pleasantly surprised with her first release, and I will continue to test it. The only sad thing is it looks like it's going to be a standalone. It doesn't seem to be a series, which that's sad, but I'm still going to be reading this, and I know a lot of you will also do the same. Book of Cold Cases by Symone James. I have read her first book was Broken Girls, and I was kind of on the fence about it, but I decided to give another shot to the author this year, and I read The Sundown Motel, and I was really pleasantly surprised. You're going to see it in my end of the year series. I want to now read anything and everything that she comes out with. It's coming out March 15th. They're also saying 350 pages. I don't know why it's the same thing for every book that I've mentioned pretty much. But she writes mysteries that tend to be like you're following a main female character who solves like cold cases, like old cases. And it seems like it's going to be the same thing for this one. I don't want to read too much into it because I feel like her books are better just going into them, not knowing too much. But yes, they also seem to all happen in like smallish towns, which is definitely my thing. So we'll be reading this next year. I just got my hands on an arc of Book of Night by Holly Black. I wanted to try something else by her because I didn't personally care for The Cruel Prince, but there's so much hype behind this series, and that one was a like YA fantasy series, but this one is supposed to be an adult fantasy series, so I want to try her again and see if it works better for me. It's coming out May 3rd. 320 pages, and they're saying it's supposed to be like about thieves and like secret societies, which yes, I want to give her a shot. Adult book might work better for me than the YA one. I feel like often the things that bother me in YA books tend to be like the romances. I feel like they're really cringy. So I'm hoping that the adult stuff might work better. I want to love her as much as everyone else. So if you didn't know she was coming out with a new book, now you do. The next one we're also trying to manifest because there's no date. It's just saying 2022. But Martha Wells, the author of the Murderbot series, which I really love the character of Murderbot, but I think I've given up on the series just because of issues. But she's coming out with a new fantasy book, which yes, I will try something else by her, absolutely, called Witch King. There's absolutely no information, so that's all I can say. But it's supposed to come out fall 2022. So once again, add this to your list. So, you know, in the beginning, I mentioned that some of these authors, it might be their last chance. Riley Sager, last chance. The House Across the Lake. Again, there's no cover, but there's a date. A lot of thrillers coming out next summer. I want to love this. I do. But one of my main issue with him as an author is that he writes really bad female characters. I really was hoping he would come out with a new book with a main male character, and I understand marketing wise why he has this pen name that is gender neutral and why he writes female characters. Basically, most of the people that read mystery thrillers are women, and he's trying to work for that, but it doesn't work because these female characters, I just wanted like, oh. It sounds very violent, but like they're really frustrating to read. And unfortunately, it's still a female character in the plot. I'm a little scared, but I still want to give him a shot. I think it might be his last chance though. You're following a recently widowed actress that goes to her like family cottage and then she drinks there. It's already, you know, that's my second red flag. Main female character, she drinks, or it is mentioned in the summary that she brings alcohol. So, and then she spies on her neighbors, and then she makes friend with the woman in that couple. And then one day she disappears, and then, you know, the couple wasn't doing well. So is it the husband that did something, and she's trying to figure it out. So we'll see. A little nervous. I might vlog this, so if I don't like it, I can just bitch about it the whole time. Let me know if you're interested. But yes, he's coming out to a new book. But personally, I think it's going to be make it or break it kind of situation. I'm looking forward to reading Fevered Star, which is the second book in the Between Earth and Sky series. I read the first book this year out of nowhere. I had never read anything by the author, and it took me by surprise. It is by far one of the weirdest fantasy books I have read in a while. Like, people are literally flying on like giant crows. And literally the first chapter, things start very, very intense. You're going to see actually the first book in my end of the year series once again. I mean, if I liked a book by the author, I'm going to want to try more, right? It makes sense. But yes, it's strange, but in a really good way. It just worked for me. And book 2 is coming out April 19th, which is like a week after my birthday. Is it a sign? And it's going to be 384 pages. If you haven't read the first book, I do recommend it. Another one that I'm manifesting because there's no specific date, nor cover, nor even title. So clearly it's all wishing here. Megan Miranda might be coming out with a new book in 2022. She's one of these authors, once again, that writes mysteries that I tend to read everything by her. I have read 4 of her books at the moment. And my favorite by her was All the Missing Girls, which was my first book by her. And my least favorite was her most recent release, which was Such a Quiet Place. What works for me with her is that she writes mysteries, cozy mysteries to me. I don't know if that's the real definition, but I'm calling them cozy because they all happen in like small towns or like in a small neighborhood. And they just feel comfy. I don't know. It works for me. So if she does come out with a new release, I will be reading it. Another one that I thought I would mention, I'm not 100% sure if I will like rush to read it, but I wanted to try something else by the author, Emily St. John Mendel. She's coming out with Sea of Tranquility. I read Station 11 by her and I did like it. And this is her newest release that is coming out April 5th, and it's going to be 272 pages. The plot seems a little complicated, but it makes sense. If you have read Station 11, there's like timelines, it's weird, and it seems to be the same thing with this one. You're following like one story that's like an 18-year-old young man who is exiled from society and sent to Canada, and then 200 years later, there's a famous writer that like finds information about it. It seems very complicated, but I wanted to give her another shot because I did enjoy her writing, even though once again I do find her timeline a little complicated to follow. It says a novel of art, time, love, and plague. Seems to be a theme for her. Oh, see, it says from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon 300 years later. I'm still confused. Last one is also a little wishful, but The Atlas Paradox, which is book 2 in the Atlas series. I just read book 1, and the author was self-published. The first book was self-published, and she was picked up by a publishing company, so she's going to be releasing a book possibly with them in 2022. Hopefully, I wanted to give it a shot and see if having like professional editing it will make it better, because I did overall enjoy the potential of book 1, but I feel like you definitely felt the need for an editor. So I feel like a lot of the books that I'm looking forward to reading don't really have release dates. So a lot of this is like hopeful it's going to come out. But even if they don't come out in 2022, I will be reading them as soon as they come out. Even as I was recording this, I realized that some of the dates were changed and some of the books that I was looking forward to reading were being pushed to next year. So you'll see them next year in a video like this. But yes, these are the books that I'm looking forward to them being released next year. Let me know in the comment section the ones you are looking forward to, because I'm sure there are some that I forgot or I just didn't know were coming out, and I can add them personally to my own TBR. So thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in the upcoming video very soon. Bye. Only you're the reason why I can feel those butterflies.